Age of X universe. Chapter 1. The War on Mutants. In a world where the X-Men never existed and mutant kind faces extinction, the remaining mutants unite to make their final stand. But they're not the only ones who have banded together. Those who would see mutant kind eliminated have plans of their own. At Fortress X, the last stronghold of the mutants is under siege. One of their leaders, a powerful mutant by the name of Anna Marie Darkholme, watches the chaos unfolding from a vantage point. She's desperate to join her soldiers, but she's too valuable. She must survive and is under strict instructions from Magneto to avoid the conflict. She has the memories of all the mutants that ever existed embedded in her brain. The story begins to fade back in time. And as it does, a monologue from Captain America provides us with a brief history of the war against the mutants.
For the security of the many, the few must sometimes suffer control. I've understood that since the beginning. Since the intermarriage laws passed and the mutants marched outside Congress. Since one riot cop raised his baton and hundreds have died in unearthly retaliation. Since the sterilizations and deportations bred only disaster. Since every attempt to purify or pacify the mutants was met with disproportionate defense. Since the Phoenix snubbed surrender and razed Albany in an instant of cosmic rage and took with her 2,000 of my fellow soldiers. Since I can remember, I've been fighting the mutants, alone. That all ends here in Arizona.
1,000 days ago, in a genetic exclusion zone in the Grand Canyon, Captain America leads a team of mutant-hunting heroes to subdue a breakout at the facility. They've all fought mutants in their own way during the war, but this is the first time the government has assembled them into a specialized unit. They are struggling to agree on the best approach to dealing with the mutants. Captain America restrains a mutant on the ground, but Iron Man evaporates the mutant with his blaster and then nonchalantly claims that he had a gun. The mutant was unarmed. The captain introduces his team.
Tony Stark, officially coded Iron Man, but he's been calling himself the Steel Corpse for a decade. It suits him. Some sort of tech virus, the records say. Mutant-derived, naturally. He's been fused in that armor ever since. Slowly digested by the machine. Hard to say how much of a human's left in there, but there's precious little stability.
Iron Man isn't the only one who looks a little different. There's something off about the Hulk's appearance, too.
Bruce. Bruce is in deep with the military. His file's classified. But I know one thing. He really, really hates mutants. I mean, sure, we've all got our reasons, our rationales, for the safety of the many. But with Bruce, it goes deeper than that.
Redback is on a killing spree. She's probably racked up an even higher tally than the Hulk.
Redback's a simpler case, at least. Jessica Drew, though she's never used the name, or any spoken word at all. She's been this free country's top killer these past 8 years, and I'm not about to pretend that doesn't make me uneasy. But then, desperate time, right? For her, it's a simple matter of duty, nothing more. Provided that means killing.
Sue Storm stops Redback from driving her blade into the rear of her next victim's skull.
These people need to be controlled, Redback, for their safety as much as the world's. Not murdered.
Captain America senses that Sue's presence in the team is going to stir up even further trouble within the ranks.
Sue may be trouble. I've seen the file. I know what she's been through. Her powers are as tough as they come. But her heart? Desperate times, like I said. You do what you have to. I'm not sure Sue understands that. You can bet the mutants do.
A mutant cracks Sue on the back of the head, knocking her unconscious. The mutant is noosed around the neck by Ghost Rider's metal chain before he can inflict any further damage on Susan.
Johnny. I have absolutely no idea where they found Johnny.
Ghost Rider brutally executes the mutant. A handful of mutants are lucky enough to make an escape.
And that's how it begins, with defeat and discord and death.
The mutant hunting squad are called in to debrief with the highly decorated General Castle. He deems their mission a failure considering the mess and escapees. Each of the team members has their own reasons for what went wrong. There is a particularly heated rivalry brewing between Sue and Bruce, rooted in their opposing views on mutant handling. Sue argues that working as a team will be the key to their success, and models her example on the Fantastic Four. Bruce uses this as his opportunity to attack.
That's your example? A dysfunctional dynasty of confirmed traitors?
Another internal monologue from the captain gives us a snapshot in the context of Banner's criticism.
Nobody wants to say it, but it's in the air. Banner has a point. Everyone remembers where they were the day the Four went down. America's favorite family caught harboring mutants. There are a lot fewer folk who know the truth behind who shopped them. Seems one of their house guests had an accident. Oh, nothing personal. Sue's testimony was real clear on that, no blame attached. But it cuts to the heart of the bigger problem. All too often, mutants can't even control themselves. Sue figured that meant someone had to do it for them. Her husband didn't agree.
Captain Castle urges them to put their differences behind them and find a way to work as a unit, because their next mission is on a whole new level. In an escalated effort to rescue mutants under threat, 22 high-rise buildings around New York City that were housing mutants were uprooted from the bedrock and transported via levitation to a secure area. Castle believes that the mutants are consolidating and establishing a stronghold from which they can mount their final defense. The team set off to find their target with the help of a mutant called Repugnant. This mutant has volunteered to help in exchange for his life. Banner is furious that they are working with a mutant, regardless of the situation. Banner reveals that he had been working on a sterilization therapy treatment with volunteer mutants. During the experiment, one of them panicked and caused a gamma radiation explosion. The test subjects were all evaporated by the blast, and their cells were absorbed into Bruce's body. In a blind rage and with mutant cells pulsing through his veins, the Hulk went on a rampage at the lab, killing his colleagues, his best friend, and his fiancée. This is why he thinks mutants are pure evil. The team arrives at the mutant stronghold. Hulk cannot wait to unleash his fury on the mighty structure in front of them. The captain orders Hulk to restrain himself and await instruction. Iron Man receives orders from General Castle permitting the team to initiate Operation Omega, which means that they are sanctioned to use lethal force. Hulk is over the moon and immediately murders Repugnant on the spot by smashing his brains out with a sonic clap. Sue uses her powers to keep herself, Redback, Iron Man, and Captain America invisible so that they break into Fortress X. Banner remains behind with the reinforcements. Stealth is not his strong point. Banner warns Iron Man of a blast shield chamber on the level above them, which gives away Magneto's position. Sue is still deeply opposed to their orders to kill on sight and debates the morality of the situation with the captain. Rogers tells her that he has no intention to kill, but if it comes down to it, he will do what's necessary. Captain America understands that Magneto must fall if they want their mission to succeed. They must cut off the head of the snake. Their cover is blown, and the mutants launch a mass attack. It turns into a bloodbath rapidly. In the midst of the battle, Captain America completely forgets about morality and joins the killing spree. Rogers fires at a fleeing mutant who hurls herself in front of a doorway, screaming for him to stop as the bullets hit her. Sue stops Captain America before he finishes the rest of his magazine on the target. It's as if he was enjoying himself. Sue is shaken to her core when the smoke settles and she realizes that the mutant was protecting a group of children behind her, using her body as a shield. Captain America's eyes fill with dread as his actions begin to sink in, as he begins to accept what he might have done had Sue not stopped him. It's just orders, he tries to tell himself as he watches the mutant's blood flooding the floor beneath him. The dying mutant speaks through gritted teeth.
What about the little girl? She's human. She's only 11. She writes stories so powerful they sear at the soul. Stories to uplift or devastate. Stories of such beauty her school teachers know they'll change the world. What if that little girl's being brought up as a communist, Captain? Or an anarchist? Or fundamentalist? Will you kill her too? What about the scientist with contrary views on drug control? Or the pink vote politician? Or is there anyone special, unpredictable, and unique who you can't control? Where does it end, Captain?
The mutant draws her last breath and dies. Redback speaks for the first time in her life.
This is wrong.
Captain America has heard enough. He tells Stark to inform General Castle that they all quit. Suddenly, Tony's suit begins to override without his control. The suit forces him to aim his blaster at the children, and it begins charging up to fire. Tony tries everything possible to stop it, but the suit has been taken out of his control, likely by Castle himself. Left with no other options, and after having a serious change of heart after hearing the mutant's touching speech, Tony orders Captain America to save the children. Without hesitation, the Captain executes Iron Man. Despite all his mutant-hating fury and unforgivable acts, Iron Man made the ultimate sacrifice in the end for the greater good. General Castle tells the Captain that they will regret their decision. Castle has a contingency plan in place and reveals his sinister intentions to the Captain. Castle has a biochemical warhead attached to the Hulk, who is going to charge headfirst into Fortress X. Captain America and his team lead the defense, urging the mutants to join them in their stand or die trying. Sue creates a force field around the fortress to prevent Hulk from detonating the weapon. Rogers apprehends the Hulk head-on. Castle orders his men to target Sue's shield and weaken her with their weapons. Sue's force field is shattered by an incoming missile. Hulk tries to finish Susan off for good by slamming down on her shield. Captain America can do nothing but plead with the mutants for aid. Hulk breaks through Susan's shield, critically injuring her in the process. Banner lifts Sue off the ground, crushing her windpipe as he tightens his grip around her neck. Hulk's hand is cut clean off by Redback. She climbs on Hulk's back and uses Iron Man's blaster to set off the chemical weapon. Sue uses the last of her power to contain the blast from destroying the fortress, trapping herself and Redback inside. Captain America weeps over Sue's dead body. Anna Marie thanks Rogers for showing the mutants what it means to fight for one another. They still have a long battle ahead of them, and they'll need to work as a team if they want to survive. That's it for this story. It would really help us out if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep making these videos. Check out the next one on the screen and we'll see you soon. Take care.